Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start all of our days off really well. And let's just take a few breaths, a little bit of tapping, just to ground right here, right now. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. One of my early birds. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And we have a fantastic reading today. I'm very excited about this particular one because I think it was going to speak to many of us. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in as deep as you can. Good morning, CJ. Hold. And out. Notice how you can take in more air than you think you can, or than you typically do. In these current times in which we're living, we really want to fill up with air as much as you can. So even if you need to set an alarm on your phone for every hour on the hour, breath, deep breath. And if you feel lightheaded after doing maybe 3 or 4 deep breaths, it lets you know that typically you're not breathing deep enough. So we need to get that practice. We need to get those nice, deep belly breaths that are bringing in life force energy and releasing life force energy. Really getting that moving. So, also, if I remember, and I hope I remember, because it was phenomenal. For those of you who live in my area, Diane and I had my birthday dinner at Fratello's last night, and we sat outside, which was amazing because it's right by one of the dams in the Fox River, so you can hear the water rushing. There were pelicans, you name it, waterfowl, they were there. It was awesome. And it was pre-bug season, so that was even better. But there's this phenomenal dessert that they have that's called a lemon crostata. My opinion, basically what it is a shortbread tart with lemon curd in it. Be still my heart. It is so good. Plus, they gave me a free piece of chocolate cake for my birthday, so I had a little of both. Well, I had a lot of one and a little of the other. So now I have leftovers for today, which is even more fantastic. But my main meal was their shrimp appetizer. Phenomenal. It was so good. So good. So if I remember, I'll put up food pictures because I love food pictures. So, nice deep breath in and out. And today we have Tosha Silver. Outrageous openness, letting the divine take the lead. And more, I feel like we need to be practicing turning things over, allowing things to unfold, working with the flow of the energy, following our internal guidance, paying attention for our next step, which may not be everybody else's next step, and that doesn't matter. What are we being called to do? So I feel like this reading is absolutely spot on with regard to that. And there's something else about that. Hang on a minute. Hold, please. It's something about the people who listen to this message. And if you're here and you're hearing this message, there's something really important in here for you. So be that curious observer. Take a breath and step into your curious observer. I wonder what's here for me. Let's see what it has to say. So it's Outrageous Openness. It's page 17, chapter 2. The overall chapter title is Shopping with God. Spirit, universe, all that is, the divine, however you look at it. That source that keeps the birds aloft. Good morning, Jo Neal. Welcome, welcome. And shine and rise. Yes, yes. So we are in Outrageous Openness, chapter 2, entitled, good morning, Kayleen. Welcome, welcome. It was awesome talking with you yesterday. Trying to function. That's the title of this chapter. And then in parentheses, say that 5 times real fast, early in the morning. Without God. Without God. Trying to function without God. Trying to function without tapping into this divine, masterful, benevolent energy that's out there. Trying to function without our supports and guides, without attending to our inner wisdom, trying to function without. 2 quotes at the beginning, and y'all know my old saw about 2 quotes. Whenever there's 2 quotes at the beginning of a Tosha chapter, it's going to be fabulous. So the first quote is by Shirley MacLaine. Learning to surrender to a very sophisticated deity has been the single most important lesson of my life. Learning to surrender to a very sophisticated deity, the divine, the organizing power of the universe, however you frame it, God, however you frame it, has been the single most important lesson of my life. I totally agree. Totally agree. And still working on that lesson. Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. Good morning, good morning. And CJ, you're just rolling again, so there must be something really important in here for you. And the second one is lose your inhibition, follow your intuition, free your inner soul, and break away from tradition. Any music aficionados out there? That is the Black Eyed Peas. Let's get it started. So here's the story she shares. Good morning, Gwen. You're still hanging out in Kentucky. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Lots to look at there. Lots to look at there. And I just thought it was so beautiful and green. I loved all the green there. So, and Mel, good morning, good morning. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. So, we have 4 of you on with me. At least that's what the counter says. I kind of think there's more. Anywho, doesn't matter. Tune in. Your intuitive wisdom part of you. The part of you that's going to nudge you and say, this is the part you need to listen to. This is the part you need to hear. When I was in 9th grade, my friends and I played a certain game for months on end. No matter what someone said, we just added the words during sex. Such as, she loves to eat anchovy pizza during sex. Or he always forgets to do his math homework during sex. For whatever reason, this never failed to send us into gales of hysteria. But then we were 14. Hey, however is funny is funny. Now I find myself in a new version. Have you noticed how some people will rush to discourage a certain goal? They rain on your parade. I always call it piddling on my post toasties. Well, that's not going to work. You know, that. Have you noticed? Okay, so, or at least let you know how futile, exhausting, or expensive your attempt will be before you even start. So again, they rain on your parade, right? So in my revised game, I always take their words and add without God. As in, it's impossible to find the right job in this economy without God. Or you'll never be able to find a parking spot there without God. I can't tell you how well this works, she says. So think about that. How often do you call in the divine? I tend to relatively frequently. Okay, I don't know what to do with this. Throw me a bone here. Our God jars. Our God jars are a perfect example of this, where we have indeed turned it over. Okay, I can't fix this. It is way beyond me. Let's hand it off to you. See what you do. Good morning, Abigail, or Angie. Glad you're here. And I'm trying to see who else rolled above you, but maybe that was still Mel. I'm not sure. But welcome to all of you. And of course, my counter has not changed. So I don't know how many of you are here, but Practical Rebels, welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're all here. Those who need to be here are here. Those who need to listen afterwards will listen afterwards. Those who need to make some of this their mantra will do so. On we roll. Thank you for the sunshine. So here's a story she's sharing in her new use of Without God. I happened to turn on NPR one day during a mind-boggling interview with an efficiency expert. At least she could still turn on NPR. Never mind. He had written a book on procrastination with 44 critical steps. Critical steps here, so don't be missing any. To be followed in his Act for Success plan. I was soon giggling so hard I had to pull the car over at the corner of Clay and Divisorato just to be safe. Even the poor interviewer sounded flummoxed. He asked, "So you're telling our listeners they must follow all 44 steps?" "Absolutely, every single one," the expert intoned, "in the proper order. So don't be messing up the order either. Otherwise it will not work." And he began to fire off his list again. My head was spinning like a bad carnival ride. "Well," said the interviewer, "to be honest, that's all a bit daunting. Isn't there a simpler way for people to begin?" "No," said the expert gravely. "As a master, I devised this plan scientifically. And of course, if people are confused, they should take my seminar." Of course. Wiping away tears of laughter, all I could think was, yep, he's a master of how to overcome procrastination without God. I remembered how life was indeed a dreary, weary road before I let the divine lead the way. I ran from one self-styled master to the next with my problems. Do you have guru hunters in your world? Those who are going from one expert to another? My father's definition, and granted he's cynical, but his definition of expert is an X is a has-been and a spurt is a drip under pressure. So there you got it. So the combination, this is Tosha, of a delicate nervous system and a good dose of ADD made my life often derail. Anybody can relate? But at some indeterminate point, perhaps more from exhaustion than evolution, sometimes that's how change occurs, right? I pretty much gave God control. And though problems still come, solutions usually follow in fresh and novel ways. So now she's going to share another story describing this. The other day I met an interesting writer in a cafe. We started discussing the book proposal that I had been stuck on. She offered, "Well, I could help you do it. These usually take about 30 hours to create, and I charge $2.50 an hour." "Wow, are you kidding?" I gasped, doing some quick calculations. "That's over $7,000. "Well, I do have a handy flexible payment plan," she said. Then I remembered. That's what a book proposal costs without God. When I demurred and left, I sat in my car and invoked a divine order with my full heart. Now listen to these words, you guys. Even if nothing else comes out of this early morning intuitive guidance, my YEMIG today, take these words with you and run with them. You ready? Talking to God. If you wish this written, if you wish this done, if you wish this accomplished, if you wish me to go there, I cannot do this on my own. You know my limits, but the perfect route is already selected. So if this is your will, fling open the doors. If this is meant to be, please bring the right help. So even making that declaration or that prayer, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be looking for the right doors opening. You're going to be looking for the right people coming your way. You're going to be, okay, I've asked. Now where is it? And again, it's divine right timing, so it may not be immediate. But as you then prepare yourself to be ready when your pathway opens up, fabulous. So think about when you go on a trip. What do? You pack ahead of time. Oh, it happened to you yesterday. Fabulous. Okay. And all I can see 3 lines and then I see more. Thank you for sharing the story, Gwen, because share a bunch of stories, you guys, because it's so helpful to the rest of us when we go. So like I'll read this thing and go, oh yeah, it worked for Tosha. And not only that, I remember when it worked for me in the past. This has worked before. I can trust it will work again. And some of you are saying, yeah, but this is a whole different situation, and I don't think that God's going to take the time to piddle around with my little situation, blah, 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 blah. Right now I am on page 20, Jonelle. Page 20. So I'm going to read it again. Hear it for yourself. If I remember, I'll put it in the feed, but my brain's been a little Swiss cheesy lately. if you wish this, and for this it was a book, and so she says done, but if you wish, or she says written, if you wish this done, I cannot do it on my own. You know my limits. Basically, you're asking, okay, universe, co-create with me. But the perfect route is already selected. So if this is your will, fling open the doors. If this is meant to be, please bring the right help. And you can add in, I'm so happy and grateful now that. I am so open to receiving. Whatever, whatever. And make it big and make it bold and make it outrageous. What's the title? Outrageous openness. The more wildly open you can be to it, the more radically accepting you are to what's coming your way, the better off you're going to be. So, the last couple of paragraphs on the story of I ain't paying $7,000 for you to help me. 17 through 20. Thank you, Nancy. Within a month, a writer friend of mine in New Mexico serendipitously emailed me one of her own proposals. Hey, you popped into my mind tonight, she wrote. In case you're still working on that thing, just use mine like a map. You'll finish in no time. She was right. So, how about for you? What are the stories you can recall from your own life where when you finally turned it over, maybe you'd been hammering on something for a tremendously long time. I remember working on my dissertation. I still have PTSD from that damn thing. And working on it. Then it was time to go to my internship. So I went from Missoula, Montana to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for internship. And was so busy with internship I wasn't working on finishing up my dissertation. Then I got married, then I got pregnant. And then I said to myself, okay, universe, you've got to bring me through this dissertation. I got to finish this bloody thing up. I refuse to be ABD. I am not going to be an all but dissertation person. I will get this accomplished. So and that's actually how my son, my first child, got named. Was my mother and I then drove back across the country and I defended my dissertation. I had moved away from there. I wasn't living there anymore, but I wanted to get this thing done. So I defended my dissertation, and as we were driving past, we went through, oh yeah, Dorito overdose. I had a friend who said she kept a bottle of vodka in her freezer. And that was her dissertation drink, was a sip off the vodka bottle. That's how she got through hers. And I'm like, oh my God. Defended, and on the way back, past, thank God, on the way back, we drove through Logan Pass. I thought, that's a lovely name for a child. I will have a Logan. So his name is Logan. But again, it was one of those things where I needed the ducks to fall into a row. I needed that pregnancy to give me the kick in the tush to get this thing done. Open up for what you need. And when you are open and receptive on the front end, my friend Lynn Schuster always comes to mind. I wonder how this is going to work out. When you're in that kind of a framework, it's much easier for how it's going to work out to come your way. Because you're not putting up resistance. You're also not demanding how it has to be. Okay, God, let me tell you exactly how this thing has to go down. Here's the date and the time and the color and the size and the... No. Not that it's bad to have specifics, but allow the universe to work its magic. This or something better. Our minds are amazing and capable of so much, but they have limitations. And so this or something better opens the door for the acknowledgement that the universe may have a much better plan than we do in the moment. So today, in this moment, how can you turn something over? How can you be receptive to receiving what it is that you need to move forward? So I have two things on my day-to-day that I think are going to be relevant to this letting go process. One is I have a phone call where I'm going to kind of go, okay, guide me here. Help me understand how you're thinking about this thing because then it will help me discern how I'm going to act on it. So that's one. The other one is I'm driving to Green Bay to drop off a Mary Kay order for one of my customers, and in the car, that just be time, I don't put the radio on, I don't have noise, I have quiet. And just be, that's a great place for new ideas to pop in. So, how about for you today? How will you open to receiving some guidance on something you've now turned over? Okay, Spirit, help me with this because I ain't sure what to do with it. Hand it off. Hand it off. Wash your hands. Do something that kind of signifies, okay, it's done now. That's why I love putting it in the God jar. It's like, okay, it's there. I don't need to worry about it anymore. The signals will come, the cues will come, and I will follow. So, have an awesome Wednesday. We will see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.